Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and welcome back to Waves Weekly. This is a video series I post every weekend where we cover recent news and current events that occurred over the past week that I believe relate to the markets. We'll also talk about some of the stocks and assets that we've been covering on the channel lately. So, in this case, Moderna, Inovio. I'm actually going to cover Novavax today, although we don't talk about it much. But it kind of falls in line with the other one, so I figure we'll cover it. And we'll also look at Riot Blockchain and Bitcoin and kind of the cryptocurrency space as a whole, because that's kind of exciting right now too. Okay, so we'll look at those guys. We'll also talk about next week's earnings and some stocks to watch next week. And just kind of overall what I'm thinking about the markets next week and how I plan on navigating my own portfolio going into next week. Okay, so that said, if you go on to gain any value from this content, I would appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe if you're not already and you want to catch more content like it, okay? And as always, if you are, I appreciate it. So yeah, that said, we'll go over briefly each topic we're going to cover, and then we'll dive into each segment one by one. Okay, so I have Moderna up right here, as you guys can see. So Moderna chart. We'll just cycle down the line here on this on the TradingView watch list. So Inovio, Novavax. I actually also want to look at, so like I said, we're going to look at Riot, but we'll also look at silver too, because silver is something I'm definitely keeping my eye on right now. Okay, so we'll look at that. These next few articles focus on Moderna because, as you guys know, I'm the most bullish on Moderna as an actual company in this vaccine race. Okay, so Moderna, this is just a fun little chart to look at, but this is actually some great news in regards to Moderna. So this is the warp speed coronavirus vaccine effort. Okay, so we'll cover that. This covers the same thing, but in a little more detail. And then we'll look at, again, earnings next week. Okay, there's some big names in there. There's some, so next week is going to be a crucial earnings week. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking about some of the names and companies in here. And then we'll get on to content of the week. Okay, so it's just going to be some YouTube stuff, definitely on the financial space, but this is stuff I feel like is very important for you guys if you are interested in the space as a whole. And again, education, if you really want to be in this game of trading and investing, is the single most important factor. Okay, so these are two YouTube channels I go to, and I'm going to show you guys some specific videos to watch that I feel like were really helpful for me personally. Okay, so that said, let's get into some good old analysis. All right, so we're looking at Moderna here. As you can see here, I drew a few days ago, maybe 2-3 days ago, on like Wednesday or Thursday of last week, I drew this bull flag, and Moderna loves these bull flags, man. Okay, so bull flag, as its name states, is a bullish pattern, and it is when you get a parabolic move up, not necessarily parabolic, but a very sharp move up, followed by kind of this descending wedge pattern. All right, so traditionally bullish. It did break out of that, and it is holding this area. I'm super optimistic about where Moderna is going to go next week, especially considering these articles that we're about to look at. Okay, so again, Moderna from a technical perspective looks good. The stochastic RSI is crossing over like that, traditionally a good sign. Volume is looking a little low, which is the only thing that concerns me, but we've seen that a lot happen in the past, just over this whole cycle it's had. The volume will come down and then something will happen and it'll just spike up again. So hopefully we see something like this next week, but again, we'll just have to wait till next week to see. I'm confident, again, based off of this news that we're about to look at, that Moderna is going to have an awesome week next week, but that's just my opinion. Remember that, this is all just my opinion, not financial advice or investment advice. Okay, so that said, again, it broke out of the bull flag, bullish sign. Let's look at this. Again, this is just a fun little fractal chart. So it's literally, he just copied this guy, NZ Sherman on TradingView. Check him out. Super low key, but I thought this was a fun chart. He literally just copy pasted this segment of the chart right here to right here. Okay, so as we saw from that last bull, we had the first rally, a little bit of a correction and capitulation, and went flat for a little bit. Had another shot up, and then it's pretty much looking almost exactly like it did before. So again, it makes sense that he copy pasted it. So in the case that we kind of repeat exactly, if we were to repeat literally exactly what just happened, then we would be up to about $80 on the next move up. Okay, and just intuitively, in my own experience, it usually doesn't happen like this. It's pretty likely that it doesn't do the exact same thing. In my opinion, because this is the second phase of this, it will go significantly higher. I think off this news, again, if you guys have been watching the videos lately, you guys won't be surprised to hear that I think Moderna could easily hit $100 over the coming weeks, especially if the market, if the general equity markets, if traditional markets fall. Like I've said in the past, Moderna kind of acts as a hedge to the markets. So if the markets are bearish, if people are scared, then Moderna does well. But also if the markets are doing good, a lot of the time Moderna does well too. So Moderna is a very important stock. This entire vaccine sector is a very important sector and very interesting sector. There's kind of, I've never seen anything like this in my history of trading personally, but it's a very interesting sector in the sense that it's both a hedge to the markets and an accelerant along with the markets. Okay, so I do think Moderna will not repeat exactly, but although again it just happened, there's no reason it couldn't happen again. I personally don't think it will, but it's just a good thing to kind of keep an eye out for. Okay. So, again, the reason I don't think this will happen is because of this. So, vaccine or no vaccine, we're back. Trump unveils warp speed coronavirus effort. President Trump unveiled an ambitious coronavirus vaccine plan on Friday and vowed that the hunt for a cure will prevail in the pretty near future. Candid. But in the same breath, the president suggested the nation could also probably do without a vaccine. And again, I'm impartial on this. I'm not. I tried not to get emotional, although a vaccine would be great. A vaccine would be awesome for both the economy and the well-being of our world. I'm a trader. You should do your best to keep emotion out of it. But again, I'm not saying I agree with the fact that we could do without a vaccine, but it's good to just understand that maybe we won't get a vaccine. That's possible. Never discount any possibility, because it's possible that maybe this thing just I mean, my money is on a vaccine, obviously, but it is possible. Never discount the possibility that maybe we don't get a vaccine, and maybe we're just gonna have to move forward. And that we're a very adaptive species. I think we'll be fine. Okay, so that said, this is a more specific yet more important, in my view, as far as Moderna is concerned, take on that. So after sneak peek at early data, Operation Warp Speed head Slaoui confident in COVID-19 vaccine by year's end. All right, so this is important. All right, so let's read this. It's full speed ahead on COVID-19 vaccine at the highest levels of U.S. government after press reports and Senate testimony described the Manhattan Project for novel coronavirus vaccines. President Donald Trump officially unveiled the program and its leaders on Friday. At a Rose Garden event, Trump named former GlaxoSmithKline vaccine in Moncef Slaoui, that's a tough name, and four-star General Gustave Perrin to lead the charge, which aims to deliver a vaccine by the end of the year. This is the important part, all right? So already based on early data for one undisclosed program, Slaoui said he's confident the group can deliver. The GSK vet now serves on the board of Moderna, whose mRNA vaccine candidate is human testing against COVID-19. So Trump appointed this guy who is on Moderna's board as the leaders of this Lightspeed project. Okay, or warp speed, sorry, same thing. But that is huge, okay? So, again, that is a little shady from the outside, but we are unbiased. We are investors in Moderna, and this is good for Moderna's stock, okay? So at least that's what I'm getting out of it. It seems pretty obvious to me that this is very bullish for Moderna's stock, but again, you guys go on to do your own due diligence, do your own research, go look into this yourself. Again, if you want to read this whole article, it is by Fierce Pharma, and you guys can just throw down that title. I'm sure you can find it. Okay, so that's Moderna. These other, so Inovio, Novavax, I'm not going to go into any media news. Again, I think Moderna is the most important company in the space, hands down. But we will look at some of these other players just for fun. Okay, so Inovio ended Friday on kind of a bunk note. But again, I think, as I've said before, I think there will not only be one winner in this entire vaccine race as far as price performance is concerned until there is a solidified vaccine. So I think almost every player in this space definitely has the potential to perform extremely well as far as price is concerned. Okay, so Inovio, from a technical perspective, RSI is very neutral. Sorry, my head's covering that, but just looking at it, that's around 50. Stochastic RSI, similar to Moderna, is on its just starting this move up, which is traditionally pretty bullish. Volume is significantly lower, but it could definitely be better. But again, I think coming in next week, we had a slow week, and that's kind of how it's going. It's going like week on, week off, week on, week off, and hopefully next week we see some more momentum and volume in this sector. And again, especially because I think personally the traditional markets are going to have a tough week next week. I think a lot of money will flood from those assets into this sector as well. Okay, so Inovio, from just a very basic trend perspective, is following this kind of uptrend right here. If you this is the top trend line in my opinion from just what I see. Again, trend lines are just a very rough idea of the potential of a stock as far as the traders are concerned. So if I was to make any trend line on here, this would be the upper trend line. Okay, we got two tops over here, disregarding this this very bubbly move up right here. So two pretty rational tops followed by this this next solid top, which leads Inovio to hit the $20 range sometimes within the next week or two. So we'll see if that happens. I'm confident it'll happen. Again, I do have a solid Inovio position right now, so hopefully it happens. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Again, I think there's a lot of potential. So that leads us to Novavax, a stock that I have not touched personally yet. This stock is ballistic. I honestly wish we got into this one. Because this is a super low profile one. I think this one's sitting at, last I checked, it was at like a $2 billion market cap. So it's similar to Inovio in the sense that that's the reason it just went blasted off to space like that. Remember, if you have been tuning in, you would remember that I was talking about how small market caps leads to huge price jumps in share price. Okay, so the lower a market cap, the more the individual share price can just go to the moon. Okay, so yeah, Novavax is just on a freaking tear. So it was at just at the beginning of this month, it was at like $17. So it's already 3x'd up to $45. I'm definitely not touching this stock right now. Pretty much every metric is just overvalued. It's overblown. Everyone who has hopped in on this bubble, look at that gap. Look at that price gap right here. That's one of the biggest gaps I've probably ever seen. That's like a 25% price gap. That's insane. So that's I'm not touching this right now. I personally think it's way more dangerous. I would actually look into maybe opening up some shorts on this because Moderna released such obviously good tangible news that I'm not sure a lot of the bubble boys from Novavax will start to gain a rational mind. A lot of traders are going to exit it because they know it's overvalued right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of money goes from Novavax into maybe Inovio or Moderna. But again, I could be wrong. It could just keep moving forward. They did just get that funding. So fundamentally, that's a good sign. But they haven't even started human clinical trials yet, which is like obviously puts them. It's kind of confusing to me. I haven't looked into it enough, so I don't want to make any like bold claims. But just from the outside perspective, from a very novice perspective, I don't know why Novavax is doing so well aside from hype, which again, hype is maybe the most important factor in this market. So it doesn't surprise me, but I would personally not touch the stock. I would actually might take out a very small short position, like very small extreme short position, maybe down to at least the previous high around here. So right at the bottom of the gap at the top of this previous high, maybe $25. So yeah, maybe a super short term $25 call, super small position could pay off big time. I'll look into that. Maybe we'll see. So that's that. Let's get into Riot. Where is Riot? So Riot had a rough Friday, but that's to be expected when it's moving so crazy like this. Again, RSI is a lot more balanced on the third. These have all been 30-minute, by the way. Okay, so RSI is looking more balanced. It's around 50. Again, this is at stochastic RSI is at the very bottom. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a move up on Friday, but again, it's very dependent on how Bitcoin does. Bitcoin's pretty flat right now, which we'll look at that last. But Bitcoin's pretty flat right now. But again, Riot isn't directly correlated to Bitcoin, and again, Riot is strange right now because it's funny how these two moves are literally exactly the same. So it is a good sign that it closed the day. It's using this previous high as resistance right now, so it's bouncing around there. And it is formed a bull flag looking kind of thing right here. So I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I hope it pops on Monday or next week. But I don't know. It's hard with these very bubbly, very rapid stocks, but based solely on the fact that there's a lot of hype traders in the market right now, and a lot of people are looking to for those 5-10x's. That and Riot's market cap is microscopic. So it has like a $50 million market cap right now, even after these moves. So it really doesn't take a lot of capital at all to shoot this thing into space. All right, so that's the beauty of Riot, in my opinion. Not much money, not much capital, not much invested capital can really take this thing to the moon. So that's very bullish. We'll see what happens. All right, no promises, but I personally I'm still holding the majority of my Riot call options. Okay, they're all long-term call options. You guys don't make. People are sending me like June Riot calls, and that's super sketch in my opinion. I would never recommend buying those. I don't touch those personally, but to each their own. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, all of my Riot calls are way longer term. Okay, so that said, Riot is still very bullish mid to long term on Riot. Short term, I don't know. So that sums that up. Like I said, we'll look at silver too. So AG, just shout out one of the companies that I've had in the portfolio for a long time. Again, it was one of my primary stocks of May. If you guys watched that video. So AG, I don't know what the heck these lines I've drawn on it. I actually haven't been on AG for a while, so I'm just going to delete all those. So you see here, gap up. Silver as a whole killed it. So MAG, that's another small position in my portfolio. AUI didn't do so good. So silver is finally outperforming gold. I don't have it here, but you guys look up the gold to silver ratio, and the ratio of silver to gold is ridiculous right now. So it's higher than it's ever been. It takes over 100 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold, which means silver is ridiculously undervalued. Literally more than it ever has in history, silver is undervalued. So I'm bullish on silver. I own way more silver miners and silver itself than gold. I personally am bullish on gold, but I'm way more bullish on silver. So silver, let's look at SLV to just look at the general silver market, because this is a silver physical silver trust. Silver just broke. Where'd it go? So you can kind of just look at this downtrend. It definitely broke a downtrend, and I'm not even draw lines, but this could have almost been dictated as a head and shoulders pattern. Not really, but it broke out of this. So now silver is definitely in an uptrend. All right, it's in a tough spot because this previous line you see right here, these previous bottoms. So these previous supports, even right here, right here, right here. So that's a very strong line of support at about 1550. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if we see silver correct down to this previous high around here, maybe at like 1475, and then continue to move up. But again, with all of the macroeconomics going on, I kind of wrote a little bit about this in the newsletter for anyone involved in the complete portfolio course. But with the markets doing bad, with so much global uncertainty in equity markets and just overall, it's good to have some of these kind of store value safe haven assets like gold, like Bitcoin, like silver. And again, I personally prefer silver over gold right now just because it's so undervalued historically. All right, so keep your eye on silver again. AG, MAG. There's a lot of silver mining companies very bullish on silver miners. Bet on the suppliers, not the thing itself. In my mind, there's a lot more upside for silver miners than physical silver like SLV. Okay, so keep your eye on that. Lastly, we'll look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, it had its halving on Monday of this week, which is a very big deal. Since then, it had that little capitulation that everyone was, the sell the news event that everyone was kind of worried about. But it quickly bounced back, and Bitcoin's actually looking super bullish in my mind. It really fell out of this what could have been a head and shoulders pattern. So like if Bitcoin ended up doing this, excuse me, I would have been almost convinced that it would have come down to like the high 7,000 region to complete that head and shoulders, but it kind of bounced out of that, and now it's just floating in a pretty solid uptrend. Okay, so let's just do some super basic, let's take this to the hourly because this is the last thing we'll look at. So Bitcoin is in a super obvious uptrend. We'll just draw some super bootleg lines right here. Let's take this down a little more. And then, like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it bounce around in this region. This right here is looking pretty bull flaggy. So let's move up here. So I wouldn't be surprised. So again, bull flaggy. That's looking pretty bull flaggy. Obviously bullish. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bitcoin break up to 10.7 to just hit the, again, this is a pretty solid top line of resistance. So we'll see if it breaks to 10.8, and then if it breaks out of this top trend line, then off to the races, baby. Okay, so that said, just short on Bitcoin, I see a lot of promising news coming in the whole cryptocurrency space. Again, Riot really falls into the cryptocurrency space in my mind. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in this space right now, so stay tuned. All right, so that's that. We'll just leave this open just in case, but we can close that. I'll close all these guys out. All right, so earnings next week. So good old Cramer. I love how he does these videos. You guys can watch this if you want to. Jim Cramer previews retail earnings report for the trading week of May 18th. A lot of people don't like Cramer, but I like the guy. Like, this is literally his job. So he does his research. He's definitely wacky, but I think he has a pretty decent take on everything. Okay, so check this out if you want, but I'll just give you guys my take on this. So Tuesday is Home Depot, Walmart, and Kohl's. Home Depot, considering almost everything should be based off of e-commerce if you're thinking big box retailers. Home Depot, I've never even seen their website. I'm sure they have one. They obviously do have one, but I feel like Home Depot cannot be doing too well, just intuitively. I have not looked at the stock, so I don't know about that. I'm not going to touch Home Depot personally. Walmart is very promising. They're probably the only competitor to Amazon. Walmart and Target are honestly the only two that could take down kind of just the everything e-commerce game. So Walmart and Target, it'll be interesting. Target's been doing pretty well. It's almost back to previous highs, and it's still way up on the year. So that's a little alarming. I actually might look into shorting Target. We'll see how it's looking on Monday and Tuesday. But again, Target's pretty high right now. I might short Target, but I'll let you guys know about that. Again, tune in the portfolio, of course, if you want to know. So again, I'm not personally, Kohl's is absolute garbage in my mind. I would never touch Kohl's. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty surprised actually they haven't gone bankrupt yet, because who goes to Kohl's? I mean, I might just be in a bubble, but again, I live in Hawaii. We don't even have a Kohl's here. I shouldn't even speak on it, but Kohl's seems whack to me. Lowe's, kind of same boat as Home Depot. I've been on Lowe's site once. So as far as e-commerce is concerned, I definitely bet on Lowe's over Home Depot, but I'm not going to touch either of them. T2, Take-Two Gaming. Gaming is huge. Take-Two stock is doing pretty well, but they own shit like NBA 2K. They own Grand Theft Auto. They're a game developer. So video games are hotter than ever. That trend is not going to stop. Esports are here to stay, and they'll only keep getting bigger. I'm long-term bullish on T2. I'm not sure if I'm going to play that. I'm going to have to look deeper into T2. TJ Maxx, Best Buy, not touching any of these. Hormel Foods. So that's canned foods. They're probably, and like frozen stuff. So they're probably killing it, to be honest. But I don't know how supply chain issues are affecting them. So that could be an issue. Nvidia is probably the single. You guys know I'm short AMD. Again, I'm actually long AMD, but I'm near-term short because I feel like it's so overvalued. Nvidia is probably the best chip maker. The best technology. I like their CEO. They're doing way more tangible things than AMD is. Their tech is still way beyond AMD's, and for all like legit computer processors, Nvidia is the top choice. So I'm long Nvidia. Nvidia might even be overvalued just because, again, the whole chip sector is so hot right now. I'm not going to touch Nvidia, but it will be interesting. I'm interested to see how their earnings go, but I personally am not going to touch Nvidia myself. So Splunk, I'm not familiar with Splunk, but their stock has kind of been everywhere. It's hot. I'm going to have to look into that, into a potential short. They might fall in the same bracket in my mind as Zoom, just a very temporarily inflated company due to this quarantine and stuff. So I'm going to have to look into Splunk, and I might short that, but I'll let you guys know if you're part of the course. All right, so that's that. That's Thursday, Friday to close out the week. Alibaba Group, that's going to be super interesting. Alibaba, Amazon of China, probably the largest supplier of masks in the world right now. I mean, I love Alibaba as a platform, and I think Jack Ma's a great CEO, great guy. He's obviously not with them anymore. They've been taken over by the good old Emperor of China. But Alibaba, Great company. I don't know how earnings go. I haven't been following the stock just because I'm not playing with the huge mega cap guys right now. But Alibaba, I like them as a company. It'll be interesting to see earnings. Stock itself, I'm not playing with. John Deere. I mean, sadly, I feel like I don't know. I literally have nothing to say on John Deere, but I'm rooting for the farmers. Love the farmers. Those guys are heroes. Foot Locker. I mean, Foot Locker is probably going to go out of business pretty soon. I don't know who's buying. I mean, they have so much real estate that they have so much ridiculous overhead, and I mean, I'm pretty positive they have online presence, but I'm not. I mean, I don't know who's going on Foot Locker online. I mean, there's probably a decent amount of people. Again, I might be in a bubble, but I'm not touching Foot Locker. I think Foot Locker is for sure going to disappoint, and I wouldn't be surprised if they also go bankrupt in the near future. All right, so that's my take on those guys. Let's get on to content of the week. Okay, so this is Real Vision Finance. This is pretty. If you guys are newer, I mean, screw it. Everyone's new. I was new at one point, but like this is such helpful content. You guys watch this. Raoul Pal introduces Real Vision Global. Why isn't it coming up? Global Recession. It was uploaded 3 days ago. You guys can find it. So it's Real Vision Finance. This guy Raoul Pal is the founder. I have talked about him on the channel before. I think he's one of the most rational voices in the space, and he has played it very successfully. Okay, so this dude is a former Goldman Sachs exec. He retired. He's made some of the best trades that I've ever seen, especially in times of crisis. So this dude's an oracle. This dude is Nostradamus. And I would watch his stuff for real. So tune into Real Vision Finance. This is a great channel. And then the second one, which I will probably recommend this guy's videos every week because I personally think Anthony Pompliano might be my personal favorite voice in all of investing right now. And the people he brings on are so relevant and so insightful. So watch the full podcast is about an hour and a half long. So it's number 249 with Colin Roshi. Explains the ultimate breakdown of the Federal Reserve. Okay, so as you guys have all been seeing, trillions of dollars being printed, money printer go burr. This guy breaks it down so well if you guys don't really understand. Like, again, the memes are everywhere, but it's not a lot of people really understand how the Fed is doing what they're doing, how they're capable of printing trillions of dollars, what the breakdown is, and where that money goes. And again, he just uploaded these clips a couple hours ago. It'll be yesterday when I upload this because I'm recording this on Saturday. But yeah, you guys can watch the clips. I'm sure those are good, but I listen to the whole podcast. It's a great podcast, super insightful if you want to actually know what's going on with the money printing and just the flow of that money once it's printed. And again, this dude is this guy Colin Roshi. He played the 2008 financial crisis extremely well. That was kind of his claim to fame. So again, watch people right now who have successfully navigated crises in the past because they know how to navigate crises. And we are currently in probably the greatest economic crisis of our generation. Okay, so that's that content. And we'll wrap it up there. Okay, so as always, you guys, if you think I missed anything, if you want to talk about anything else that I didn't mention, drop it in the comments below. Always love talking shop with you guys. Again, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. And as always, check out the good old courses. I did a lot of little side plugs in there, but again, exciting times right now. I do this email newsletter along with every update to my portfolio, and yeah, they're all options. So watch free videos if you want to get interested in options or educated on options. Always watch free videos first and then look at this if you're interested in that after. And then actually, I want to show you guys. Whoa, buddy. On the website, check out some of the merch. Okay, so yeah, I only mentioned this once on the channel, I think, but I've been in prior to investing, clothing was my game. So I did have a small clothing company that was a come up, but I still love it. I still love designing clothing. Okay, so you guys can check it out here. This is the Waves collection, just a little collection I made. So you got some bullish stuff, make waves. You got some snapbacks, and yeah, the bull mug and sticker. So I will be adding to this more. You guys just keep an eye out on this. It does support the channel a lot if you check this out. And again, I just like doing this. This is like my side passion, and it's what I grew up doing. And I owe a lot to this space. Okay, so check that out. I appreciate that if you do. All the links to everything I just mentioned are down in the description. Again, helps out the channel a lot. I really appreciate it if you do. If not, no worries. So we'll call it there, guys. Until next time, take action, make waves. Peace. Peace, peace.